What if I told you that some of the beloved stars from Home Alone ended up living lives far different from the happy endings we imagined? More than 3 decades after Kevin McAllister outsmarted the burglars and captured America's heart, many cast members have faced surprising triumphs, personal struggles, dramatic career changes, and heartbreaking losses. In this video, we'll revisit the unforgettable faces of Home Alone 1 and 2, discover where life took them after the cameras stopped rolling, and reveal which cast members are still with us today. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, how famous and influential do you think your favorite Home Alone star really was? And which character remains your favorite after all these years? The quiet resilience of Kevin McAllister. For many Americans who grew up in the 1980s and 1990s, few movie characters are as unforgettable as Kevin McAllister. The image of a young boy standing alone in a large suburban home during the Christmas season has become a permanent part of holiday nostalgia. What began as a family comedy filled with laughter and chaos gradually revealed something deeper, a story about courage, independence, and finding strength when no one else is around. Brought to life by Macaulay Culkin, born on August 26, 1980, Kevin was far more than a mischievous child setting elaborate traps for 2 bumbling burglars. At just 10 years old, Culkin carried the film with remarkable confidence, sharp comic timing, and expressive performances that connected with audiences of all ages. Beneath the humor, Kevin represented a child learning to face uncertainty on his own. Rather than giving in to fear, he turned every challenge into a problem that could be solved with creativity, determination, and a little imagination. That message may be one reason Home Alone continues to resonate decades later. Viewers who first watched the film as children now return to it as parents and grandparents, finding new meaning in Kevin's journey each holiday season. Today, Macaulay Culkin enjoys a much quieter life than the one he experienced as a child superstar. Now in his mid-40s, he carefully chooses creative projects, focuses on family life, and largely stays away from the relentless spotlight of Hollywood. Yet his legacy remains secure. For generations of movie lovers, Kevin McAllister is still a timeless symbol of resilience, resourcefulness, and the enduring magic of Christmas. The brilliant contradiction of Joe Pesci's Harry. For audiences who grew up watching movies in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Harry Lime remains one of the most memorable comic villains ever put on screen. Dressed in his rumpled coat and constantly wearing an expression of irritation, Harry seemed convinced he was the smartest person in every room he entered. Yet that confidence became the source of some of the film's funniest moments, especially when his carefully planned crimes were repeatedly defeated by a clever 10-year-old boy. Born on February 9, 1943, Joe Pesci was 47 years old when Home Alone premiered in 1990. By then, he had already built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most compelling character actors. What made his performance as Harry so remarkable was the contrast he brought to the role. Pesci was widely known for portraying intense, intimidating figures in crime dramas, yet here he transformed that same explosive energy into family-friendly comedy without losing any of its authenticity. At the time, Pesci was entering one of the greatest periods of his career. His Oscar-winning performance in Goodfellas had established him as a major force in American cinema, while later films such as Casino further cemented his legendary status. Despite sharing the screen with a young cast, he never disappeared into the background. Instead, he helped create a villain audiences loved to laugh at as much as they loved to see defeated. Today, Joe Pesci lives a largely private and dignified life away from Hollywood's constant spotlight. Though he rarely seeks public attention, his legacy remains extraordinary. For many fans, Harry is still a perfect example of how a great actor can turn a simple movie villain into an unforgettable part of American film history. Marv was the unpredictable force of nature who turned every criminal plan into complete disaster. Played with unforgettable energy by Daniel Stern, Marv became one of the most beloved comedy characters of the 1990s. For many viewers, some of the biggest laughs in Home Alone came not from the traps themselves, but from Marv's priceless reactions to them. Born on August 28, 1957, Stern was 33 years old when he stepped into the role that would define a generation of holiday movie memories. What made Marv so appealing was his sincerity. Unlike many comedic villains who seem aware of the joke, Marv appeared genuinely shocked every time disaster struck. Whether he was slipping on ice, stepping on ornaments, or encountering one of Kevin's increasingly painful defenses, Stern reacted with such honesty and commitment that audiences could not help but laugh. That authenticity helped transform Marv from a simple burglar into a surprisingly lovable character. Beneath the criminal schemes and endless misfortune was a childlike quality that made him feel more foolish than threatening. It was a delicate balance, and Stern played it perfectly. Of course, his career extends far beyond Home Alone. Many Americans also remember him as the warm and reflective narrator of the Wonder Years, a voice that became synonymous with nostalgia and growing up in America. Throughout the years, Stern has continued acting while also pursuing interests in directing, writing, and other creative endeavors. Now, in his late 60s, Daniel Stern remains a respected figure whose work continues to bring joy to audiences. For countless fans, Marv is still one of cinema's greatest comic creations, a reminder that sometimes the most memorable characters are the ones who never quite manage to get anything right. From bedwetting cousin to Hollywood royalty. Among the many memorable faces in Home Alone, few appeared on screen for as little time yet remained as unforgettable as Fuller McAllister. Always clutching a can of Pepsi and carrying an innocent grin, Fuller became one of the film's most beloved running jokes. Played by Kieran Culkin, born on September 30th, 1982, the young actor brought a natural charm and unpredictability to the role that audiences still remember decades later. What made Fuller so amusing was his complete lack of self-awareness. While the rest of the family joked about his notorious habit of wetting the bed, Fuller never seemed embarrassed or concerned. He simply existed in his own world, blissfully unaware that he had become one of the most memorable comic elements of the film. That effortless authenticity is what made the character feel so real and endearing. Unlike many child actors who struggle to transition into adult careers, Kieran Culkin steadily built his reputation over the years. Audiences saw him in films such as Father of the Bride and various independent productions, where he demonstrated a depth and versatility far beyond his childhood roles. Yet it was his extraordinary portrayal of Roman Roy in HBO's Succession that transformed him into one of the most acclaimed actors of his generation. His sharp, emotionally complex performance earned widespread praise, along with major honors, including a Golden Globe and an Emmy Award. Today, Kieran Culkin continues to enjoy a thriving career while maintaining a reputation for authenticity and humility. For longtime Home Alone fans, there is something especially rewarding about watching the little boy with the Pepsi grow into one of Hollywood's most respected performers. His journey stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest roles can become the first chapter of an extraordinary story. The unwavering devotion of Catherine O'Hara, America's beloved movie mother. Few characters in holiday film history have captured the heart of audiences quite like Kate McAllister. While Home Alone is often remembered for its comedy and clever traps, the emotional core of the story rests in a mother's determination to reunite with her child. Kate never waits for permission, never gives up, and never stops searching. Her relentless journey back to Kevin transformed what could have been a simple family comedy into a touching story about love, sacrifice, and parental devotion. Born on March 4, 1954, Catherine O'Hara was 36 years old when she took on the role that would become one of the most cherished performances of her career. What made her portrayal so memorable was her remarkable ability to balance humor with genuine emotion. One moment she could deliver a perfectly timed comedic line, and the next she could convey the fear and desperation of a mother separated from her son. That emotional authenticity resonated deeply with audiences and continues to do so decades later. Of course, Home Alone is only one chapter in O'Hara's extraordinary career. Movie lovers also remember her unforgettable work in Beetlejuice, while a younger generation discovered her brilliance through the Emmy-winning role of Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek. Across comedy, drama, and satire, she has consistently demonstrated a rare gift for creating characters who feel both larger than life and deeply human. Today, Catherine O'Hara remains one of the most respected and admired performers in entertainment. For many Americans, Kate McAllister still represents the very best qualities of parenthood: courage, devotion, and the unwavering belief that family is always worth fighting for. The warmth of Gus Polinski. In a film filled with holiday chaos, clever traps, and unforgettable laughs, one of the most touching moments arrives through the brief appearance of Gus Polinski. Portrayed by the beloved John Candy, the self-proclaimed polka king of the Midwest enters the story at exactly the right moment, offering hope when everything seems lost. Though he appears on screen for only a short time, his kindness leaves a lasting impression that audiences still remember decades later. Born on October 31st, 1950, John Candy was 40 years old when Home Alone was released in 1990. By then, he had already become one of the most cherished comedic actors in North America. What set Candy apart from many comedians of his era was his remarkable ability to blend humor with genuine humanity. He could make audiences laugh uncontrollably one moment and move them emotionally the next. That gift is perfectly captured in Gus Polinski, a stranger who chooses compassion over convenience and helps a desperate mother find her way back to her son. For many viewers, Gus represents something larger than a supporting character. He embodies the idea that ordinary people can make an extraordinary difference through simple acts of generosity. In a world that often feels rushed and impersonal, his willingness to help a stranger serves as a reminder of the kindness that still exists between people. Tragically, John Candy passed away from a heart attack on March 4, 1994, at just 43 years old. His loss was deeply felt across the entertainment world, yet his legacy continues to endure through the characters he brought to life. For generations of movie lovers, Gus Polinski remains a symbol of warmth, hope, and the belief that even the smallest act of kindness can change someone's life forever. The gentle soul of Old Man Marley. Few characters in Home Alone undergo a more meaningful transformation in the eyes of the audience than Old Man Marley. At the beginning of the film, he is introduced through neighborhood rumors and childhood fears. To Kevin, Marley seems mysterious, lonely, and even frightening. Yet as the story unfolds, audiences discover that behind the unsettling reputation is a kind and deeply compassionate man carrying his own quiet heartache. Born on March 25, 1924, Roberts Blossom was 66 years old when he took on the role. A respected character actor with decades of experience, Blossom brought remarkable depth and humanity to what could have been a very simple supporting character. Rather than playing Marley as an intimidating figure, he infused him with patience, dignity, and a quiet sadness that felt profoundly real. The church scene between Marley and Kevin remains one of the emotional centerpieces of Home Alone. Away from the slapstick comedy and holiday chaos, the conversation offers a gentle lesson about family, forgiveness, and the courage to reconnect with loved ones. For many viewers, especially those who have experienced estrangement or loss, the scene becomes even more meaningful with age. What makes Marley unforgettable is not that he rescues Kevin in a dramatic moment near the film's conclusion, but that he teaches an important truth. People are often far different from the stories told about them. Fear thrives in misunderstanding, while compassion begins with listening. Roberts Blossom passed away on July 8, 2011, at the age of 87, leaving behind a distinguished body of work. Yet for millions of movie lovers, He will always be remembered as Old Man Marley, the gentle neighbor whose quiet wisdom helped give Home Alone its heart. His character remains a timeless reminder that understanding can overcome fear and that it is never too late to heal old wounds. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next one.